What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. By singing dog. By goal.
I pronounce you.
By wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really? Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Wednesday afternoon, one of two, I should say, one of the 2 double-deckers that we have going on at the Danson's Chat Corner. First and foremost, I wanted to say thank you so much to everybody that's been listening lately. I am owing you a debt of gratitude for all the kindness and all of the patience and everything that you've done for myself as well as to the artists and individuals who participate on our show. I have to say that it takes quite a cumulative effort on my part and the part of publicists and artists and everybody that's out there. So I never want to be unappreciative of the talent that comes on here, nor, of course, the individuals that take their time to listen to the show. So first and foremost, thank you very much about that. Today, of course, is our returning and our 3rd returning visit for Angelo Tristan. He's like one of my absolute favorites, and I always get excited when he comes on my show. So without further ado, we're going to get him on the line, and then, of course, at 6 o'clock tonight, of course, it's our favorite Milwaukee local KISS tribute band, Dr. Love. Okay, so let's get on to Angelo first and see what he has to say. Hello.
Hey. Hello. How you doing?
It's you. I was just telling somebody, I'm like, I'm so excited. I'm like a little child. This is the 3rd time you've been here. This is like becoming a tradition. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
it's you.
And I was very excited. Yeah, well, obviously, like, every time, we had to reschedule stuff. I was very excited. Been excited for a long time.
Yeah. Yes, my goodness, and I see you just got a job offer. Well, I don't want to call it a job offer, but I see my friend Deborah Patricia Wood posted up on your wall there, so hopefully you can...
yeah, well, you just replied to that, yes. I'm going to see what I can do for that.
Yes, exactly. So, what's going on? What's happening? You're not married yet. Wait, I have the perfect intro.
No.
Don't say it yet. Don't. Let me read this to you first. I'm going to read this to you first, and then you can answer. Okay. Obviously... Okay, I'll start and then you go. How's that sound?
Right. Yeah, I think there's a bit of a delay probably on the phone.
Oh, that could very well be. I keep forgetting that because for those of you that don't know, Angelo of course is in London, and I of course am here in the States. So when I'm talking and he's talking, we're probably missing one another. So I'll read to these fine folks what I have to say here. Obviously, it's been a while since your endeavors have ended up at my doorstep. We have so much to delve into, of course. And as I've said earlier, I wanted to discuss your legacy as far as in the lyrics to you, but also in your love life. So here in the States, Valentine's Day, huge. I mean, like if you miss it, you'll be sleeping probably outside for a month. So I know you're going to tell me now that you're going to surprise her. There's going to be a wedding. There's going to be something, anything.
Well,
Friday.
I mean, yeah, no, well, the marriage, the wedding yet is not yet being decided. We're still, we kind of, we do want a perfect sort of, wedding and stuff. And obviously, as a musician in this day and age that hasn't cracked the full industry yet, it's kind of hard to get the sort of funding, if you know what I mein. But we're happy at the moment, and we know we're getting married and stuff. So I mean, we're just looking forward to it, and I guess you can look at it as we got, she's got more time to plan for her wedding dress and to get everything perfect, because you know how women are like, get to the last minute and suddenly everything will change.
Yes.
This won't happen in this circumstance, so I mean, that's a good thing about it. And so I mean, we're just looking forward to it, really.
But not yet. Oh, I was so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's going to come on. He's going to tell me, yes, we're going to do this soon. It's going to happen. But you keep me waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah, it's going to come, though. And you will be, you will definitely be invited. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And my future husband's right there where you are. In London. Keep her cell phone. He's there right now. You can find him for me, and we could go together. Hello, I'm just saying. That's one's out there. Not that
I love America.
Right now.
It's funny.
Oh my gosh! Yes. Okay. I want to start by talking about I'm going to do a short background on you because some people that are listening now may not have heard the last two interviews. So let me tell them a little bit about you. Our kinship actually occurred by fate because I literally found you while I was traveling around through Twitter. Your name just kind of popped up and it said you're a musician from London. And I thought, what the hell? I was just hooked from that point forward. Angelo has found favor in his U.S. country rock while being reared in the fancy French Alps, in case some of you didn't know that. Your illuminating inspiration to all kind of screams through your songs, these marvelous messages of love and hope and passion. Your early experiences, I know, in some of your previous bands kind of helped groom your gift, yet I know intuitively you kind of felt that there was just something where you were just you're just missing the mark somewhere. So luckily, Angelo kind of what we call gathered his gusto, with the result being, first of all, his self-titled EP, if I can talk today, your self-entitled EP. So to either, those that are first joining us or, of course, existing listeners, maybe describe both the offerings of that particular self-entitled EP, the people that haven't listened to it yet, and what you took the greatest pride in contribution-wise off of there, meaning the writing that you did or the playing that you did.
Yeah, so I mean the EP in its entirety, I think is got inspirational messages throughout, and the songs on there, there's 4 tracks on there that were spread out, I think, in the writing period. I think, from when I first started to play music to where I was at that particular time when the EP was getting recorded. So it's got got a lengthy time scale in there. So you kind of tell how I've progressed as a songwriter and how I've progressed as a lyricist and stuff like that. And if I was to go through the songs just, quickly one by one, you've got Lying Next to You, which, of course I wrote whilst I was sitting in my latter days of my college days. And I just had nothing to do that day, and I said, you know what? And this is when I first met, my girlfriend, my fiance, and I just decided to sit down and write this song, and it just kind of came out, and that was the last song that I wrote for the EP, and turned out to be the most country sounding one, and I think that's what turned me into more towards country music, and I had to go down that route because for me that just really kind of impacted me and impacted a lot of other people, and so there was different sign there to tell me that I should go down that route, and so that's obviously about love and about never letting each other go, and just knowing that God or life or whatever has a perfect plan for you in every single situation, whether it be in your case bad or whether it be good. There's, let me rephrase that. There's no such thing as bad. It's everything is good if you can look at it in that way. Even if, I don't know, you get asked to pay $200 bill, or sorry, $200 bill. It's a good, there is nothing bad about that. It's just your perspective on how you should see life, and that's how all the songs came about, really. And you've got first words that basically really hit that, saying, we can make it on our own with no one by our sides. Because in truth, life, life is a singular thing. You live life by yourself. Yeah, you've got other people around you, but at the end of the day, no one else is going to live your life for you. So you're going to have to, grow up and kind of figure out how to live life by yourself. And then you've got When Faith Breaks, which for me was one of the most intriguing songs that I wrote. And this is back when I was, in my first band. And I felt that I was writing it at that point for the band. We can make it for us. Sorry, this is When Faith Breaks now, so I'm getting a bit confused. When Faith Breaks. Yeah, it's about, again, the poverty in the world and how how stupid it is, really. It's ridiculous how much poverty there is in the world, and not only in the common sort of poverty countries that you expect, but also, as you probably know, there's a lot of poverty in America and a lot of poverty over here in England. Even though it doesn't look like it, there still are, and I think there's so much stuff that can be done to resolve it, to bring us together and to resolve that. And that's what When Faith Breaks was about, because I feel that when I look at the TV and when I look at the newspaper and things like that, our faith as humankind is kind of breaking apart, not only because I think people tend, well, in my eyes, are kind of getting a bit more greedy these days because, you know, people find it much easier to get to places, whatever, but technology is making things kind of fall apart, you know, and it just feels like faith is breaking around us. And that's why that's how that song came about. And I think I wrote that when I was about 16 or 15. So, I mean, I was quite very in touch with the world and what was happening at that time. And then, you know, obviously I'm Coming Home Tonight, which was the single, and I've got great acclaim for up to this day. And again, I wrote that when I was 14, and it was about, literally at that time, was about me coming home from work saying, I never want to go to work again. It's boring. I don't like it. I just want to sit and play guitar and just not do anything. And over time, it became this song that people took as, you know, to themselves as they're coming home to their family or coming home to a situation in their lives or coming home to love or coming home to I don't know, you know, it just meant something different to everyone else. And that was the magic of the EP. Even though the quality of the recordings isn't to what I want it to be, because obviously the situation I was in, you know, I did it in my little home studio. I think people got the message across and to themselves, and that was the magic of it for me, that it was just so transcending.
Sure. Question for you. I'm just curious now that it's been out long enough and such. How do you think the audiences are receiving it? Not necessarily just in the UK, but in the US as well.
Well, I mean, you know, I've been speaking to a few people in the US, you know, over Twitter and Facebook and things like that, and there have been people that are really, really have been touched by the EP and in particular songs. But I've had a certain someone, I can't remember exactly the name, but who I said, you know, listen, I got speaking to this person and they told me about how, you know, what they're doing in America and stuff and how my song is influencing them and their family. And so I said, you know, I'll send you a couple of CDs through the post. I think I sent about 3 or 4 to this person, and you know, obviously for free, because I love just music in general for free. I think it needs to be done more. But and I mean, and they, you know, they took it really well. I mean, I'm not really in touch with. I don't really know how it's getting received over there. I guess you know, I'll have to wait until a few more singles are released and a few more shows, and hopefully, you know, I'll be like, which I'll be mentioning later on, I'll hopefully be starting a tour at the end of this year or beginning of next year, and hopefully that will kind of get my name out into the music business, and I'll be able to kind of touch America a bit more.
Gotcha, of course. Now, and additionally, here's another good question for you. For you personally, how important is it that you gain notoriety in the U.S. as compared to the U.K., or is it just not? I mean, obviously, I know you want to be famous, but I mean, is it more significant to you that you're loved by your home as compared to out here?
Like, you know what? I adore America. I you know, I always say that I really feel that America is the place my soul belongs. I went there for a holiday in 2008. A big road trip. I went, you know, from California to I think where's next to California? California, like Nevada, and did a big basic circle through quite like 4 states. And I mean, you know, the 10 days, and that just seeing the culture and the life over there. I you know, I always knew that America was a land of dreams, and I went there and I saw it, and I was like, this is it, man. This is where I have to be. And since then, well, even before then, I've always made it my goal to have, you know, a house there and to be able to live and work there. And I mean, for me, I would love to be known in America. I think the UK, the music scene is a bit, I don't know, it's a bit poppy over here. I don't know, it's a bit electronic and poppy and a bit bubblegum sort of. And I'm not quite liking what's coming over here at the moment. And, you know, obviously I love the styles of like Brad Paisley and Tim McGraw and, you know, all these American folk that are coming out in America at the moment that I'm listening to. And I think that music is amazing. You know, it touches me, and it's real music. And that's what I want to be involved with, and hopefully meet these guys and, you know, collaborate with these guys. But they're all in America. So that's, I guess, to answer your question, yeah, to be known in America would probably mean a lot more to me than being known in the UK.
Gotcha. Okay, perfectly understandable. All right, I want to switch a little bit and talk again some more about your background. Some people may not know this, that some of your acoustical stints have been offered at some of the various superior saloons, as I call it, in London, such as the Black Hat, Churchill Tavern, and Sebright Arms, as well as now regular gigs at King Edward VII in Margate. The two topics here.
Sorry?
I want to ask, now, I'm assuming, this is an assumption because, of course, I'm from the U.S., each establishment, I'm guessing, varies in both its style and its crowd. So does that mean that, A, you alter your songs and your style accordingly? And then second of all, have most of these gigs been places where there's what we call a country atmosphere, meaning they do primarily country, the accent, that sort of stuff? So maybe address those two things.
Yeah. So, with how I've learned how to be, what I've learned as a musician over the years is you have to be very dynamic and versatile in how you play, and I think that comes across when you first start to play venues. You start to realize the different sort of people that come and it might be an older age, so they're not going to like heavy rock stuff and loud vocals. They're gonna want nice acoustic ballad sort of things, and I can come in growing up as an acoustic guitar player and learning how to play Bon Jovi. They're one of the best. In my opinion, probably one of the best that do that. But it's so versatile, and I've learned how to do that is to kind of take a rock song and to turn it into an acoustic version, and so then you've got best of both worlds. So yeah, I do kind of manage my songs according to the venue, and also at that in the present time as well, because if I haven't ever gone to the venue, I'm not going to know what sort of style I need to do, and I just turn up there and go, right, okay, so the vibe I'm getting right here is that I need to do this, and you go out and do that. And the King Edward VII venue, I think it's about 10 minutes away from where I live, and it's a proper biker's bar. I think you Americans would love it. It's a proper biker's, leather, big jackets, big beards, all look like ZZ Top. And where I play, there's just a massive Harley Davidson parked, right behind me, staring in my face. So it's quite it's a surreal place to play. But they really enjoy acoustic stuff because I went there the other day, last Sunday, and I played, and they asked me to play there now every other Sunday, and they love it. They love the acoustic stuff, and it's weird because you'd think that they would love the heavy thrash metal, but no, they're sitting there, like drinking their beer and their whatever, and kind of, they love it. And but that's kind of primarily what I do is kind of switch up probably as soon as I arrive there, I'll kind of decide what I'll do.
Sure. Of course. Now, have you found, as far as, is there such a thing as, well, we call it here, just a dream joint, meaning if there's one particular place in London or in England that you'd want to play or be asked to play at?
Yeah. Well, there's actually, the O2.
Okay.
The O2. No, the O2 is the dream place, I think, for, you've heard of the O2, right?
Very, very briefly, to be honest with you, so you might want to enlighten me a little bit, because I don't know a whole lot. Honestly, okay, I'm from the U.S.
Wow. All right, well, the O2, Bon Jovi did a 22-night residency there, and then a couple tours ago. The O2 is probably, it's been recognized as the best music venue in the world. It was, I don't know if you remember the Millennium Dome. It's a big white thing with the yellow thing sticking out of it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
That's the O2. They changed that up into a music venue, and it's absolutely amazing. I think it's about 20,000 people in there, but that is the epic dream place to play. But in terms of where I am at now, there's a place called the 100 Club in London, where a lot of starting out artists back in the day in the 70s, like Rolling Stones played there, when they were first starting out, and the Kinks and everyone that you can possibly name has played there. It only fits about 300 people, and it's underground, and it's quite a grubby looking place, but the music is very, very raw there. And if you want to get known, you know, by the industry, I think that's a place to play. But I should be able to play there soon because I'm at the moment getting a band together for the, you know, my new phase of shows and tours and stuff. And hopefully this will be the last band I need to get together, and that will stick with me. But as soon as I get this band together, then, you know, I should be prepared to be playing in some of these venues.
Gotcha. Now, I'm also curious, too, here in the States, of course, one of the things that I attend regularly, and I know a lot of musicians are big on, do you still have time to, or do you still participate in the open jam? Like, you just go out one night where you're off and grab a guitar and go to the place and open jam?
Honestly, you can't have, you know, you have to, you know, that's the life of a musician, and you look at, I mean, yeah, I just don't even know what to say. That's what I love. You know, that's something that I'll always do, even if, you know, I do manage to be a multi-million album seller. I will always in my downtime go to a bar or to a jam night and just play with the local musicians, because, you know, you learn your craft in that situation. You know, and you meet the most amazing sort of people and the most amazing characters. And you learn a lot, and that's I think that's where you learn your career and your craft, because without that you're just by yourself, you know, either in your house or you're just playing these big shows and you're only knowing how to play your stuff. Whereas if you go to these jam nights, you're learning about new characters and how to feed off people that you've never played with, and that to me is very important, because you need that to be, you know, to have a long success in music. You know, I'm talking about 40, 50 years now. You need to be able to play with a lot of people, and you can't be picky. Like, you know, I see in the music industry these days, you've got all these artists that are just so stuck in their ways, and you know that they've just been, I don't know, known, you know, someone watched a video on YouTube and then bang, they're a massive superstar, and it's just like too fast. You know, that's not going to last. And you need to build up your fan base in that sort of way as well, as going to jam nights and stuff. So I love it, man, and that's one thing that I'll always do.
Okay. Now, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, because I know we've talked about this possibility before, and I don't know if it's come up yet, are you currently working on duets, or are we still working on getting to the point where you're going to be collaborating with a second partner or second person and producing things together?
Yeah, so I don't know if you know, but the UK is at the moment quite big in the hip hop industry and R&B industry, and I've had a couple of, you know, chances to collaborate with, you know, certain R&B artists and stuff, and one of them is actually quite, you know, well known and has gone to quite big awards ceremonies, like the MOBO Awards, which is the Music of Black Origin Awards, basically. So this guy's called Youngo, and he's got a big fan base, and has played at places like the O2. This is what he's told me anyway, but he's played at places like the O2 to open up for certain people, and I've had the privilege to be on to record a song with him on a chorus. And also this other guy called 9 Lives, who's an upcoming artist as well, who is produced by a Radio 1 producer, which Radio 1 over in the UK is a very big radio channel, which, you know, spans across the whole of the UK. And this guy, the Radio 1 producer who produces this artist, asked me, can I, you know, write a chorus to his song, and lucky enough, my girlfriend helped me write the chorus to it, and you know, the melody and stuff, and recorded it in our home studio and stuff, and sent it to him, and he was very happy with it and wanted me to go in the studio in London, and I did it, and he was very happy with it, and that should be released, you know, hopefully again worldwide and stuff, and played on radio. And but the perks of that is that this Radio 1 guy likes what I do as well. So hopefully he said that he'll be happy to promote, you know, any new singles on live on radio as well across the UK. So I mean, you know, you're hopefully looking in the next 4 months for maybe hopefully you know, to hear my stuff a bit more worldwide.
Yay! I'm so excited. Oh. Okay, so we have a lot of excitement there. Okay, let's talk a minute, because again, another change since last time we talked, which one little added alteration is apparently you've accepted new management, which is Broken Door Records. So maybe you could talk a bit about reason for the change, as well as how some of their accomplishments to date have best aided your career to this point.
So basically, I don't know if you know, I was on a label called Freaky Pug Records, and they were the first label that I got onto, and that's who I did with my EP. And towards the end, I think there was I'm not quite sure what happened, but I think there were certain things happening within the label that I don't really know what happened, but basically it wasn't for me. And there was one of my really good friends called Tom Palloway, who's now my manager. Tom Palloway, he owns this lighting company, quite a big lighting company that helps a lot of the West End productions. Basically, the West End is like Broadway, basically in New York, right? And he helps a lot of the West End productions with the lighting equipment and stuff. So he was very well based in the industry of entertainment and knew a lot of people and stuff. And he saw me perform. Actually, it was the night I had the second interview with you. That night, he was doing the lighting for that show, and I don't know if you remember. And he about 4 months after that. He called me and realized what was happening with the label I was on at that time, and he said, "Listen, I can see that you're having a bit of trouble. At that time I was saying, listen, I want to come off the label to Freaky Pug Records, and I came off their label, and he came along and said, okay, well, you know what? I'm starting up a management company, and I would love for you to be, my artist. I think you've got great potential and stuff like that." And he helped me kind of deal with a lot of problems that I had with the label and stuff, and we got through that and other managements and stuff, and he helped me get through all of that, and was very patient and things like that. So I mean, he from the word go, he was very focused on getting a job done, and so was I. And I guess it's quite like a perfect marriage in a way, because he's very focused on very serious stuff. He's very like, no, you have to think of this now. Here, right now, is what you have to think about. And where I am very, let's play at the O2 next week. But in a way that works. As a management artist relationship, that works, because you've got the enthusiasm coming out of one end and then the grounding coming from another, and you never lose both. And I think it's important to have that. And he started up the management company, got me on his management company, and then which was called Headlight. And then months after that, he, getting a few more artists onto his management company as well, and a few more staff to help him. He then came up with Broken Door Records, which is doing fantastic now. It's just opened an office in Berlin. And one of the employees of Broken Door Records in Berlin really digs my stuff and country music, and says that she will do everything she can to blast my stuff into Europe and to get things rolling. So it's a really good turn for the good, and I'm in a really good place at the moment in terms of that area.
You're always in a wonderful place. That I like about you. You're just so adorable. So proud. Okay. So I wanted to note that you made the choice, as we started to talk about earlier, putting together this new band, of course, whose purpose is to peruse both the UK and the Europe, Europe as far as on tour, and then you kind of tend to look and think about when you want to start that. But you notice, and this is a very big observation, you're not coming here. No U.S., no me, no here.
No, well,
what the hell? Hello.
The reason why I haven't said I'm going to America yet is because there's a couple of bands on my management's label that have been offered to go to America and stuff, but it's to get the permit to work over there, because basically you're working over there, aren't you? I'm playing over there and earning money, but to get the permit to be able to do that, it costs a lot of money. And obviously the first tour that I'll do, I won't have the money to be able to buy a permit to go over to America, and that's not just for me, that's for the whole band as well, and the management company and the label. And
Right.
So what we're trying to focus on is getting a UK and European tour lined up, so then we can build up enough revenue and money to have in the pocket at the end of that tour, to then at the end of that tour go, right, okay, well, we've got this amount of money, let's now do something in America. So that's why at the moment I'm keeping it quiet, because I will come and play in America, you know, I will very, very soon, but it's probably not in the first tour that I do, just because, you know, I need to build up some cash first to come over to you guys.
Sure, he goes on tour, and I don't. It's like the only show I'll ever get backstage to in my life, and it's not even.
But look, the good thing is that you've got, you know, you can look forward to that, because and then I'll have enough practice around the UK and Europe to you know, to work out the songs perfectly, and then I'll come over to America and knock you guys out.
Well, I have a hint for you, because, you know, I noticed that you had mentioned this, too, on Facebook, that, you know, I scrolled down and I noticed, oh, yeah, he was looking to put this band together. And you know what? I will bet a dime to a dollar that you didn't know. I told you, if you just start walking the streets of London, you know, Kiefer Sutherland plays the guitar. And he sings.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well,
you know, I mean, hello, you get money pretty quick that way.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I told you, but we actually moved out of London to a little seaside town, actually, because, and I'll tell you the reason why. The reason being is because London, as much as you may think is it glamorous and, you know, everyone is there, you know, and everyone succeeds there, it's completely opposite. There's so much, the mind frame of people in London is so busy. It's too business-like. It's too money-making. There's too much advertising. It's too commercial. And so, you know, we kind of sat down and we said, listen, we need to be clever about this. We need to think, right, what's best of our career? How can we make our career succeed where, because in a place like London, you're basically like a needle in a haystack. You know, you've got everyone trying to do it in London. And there's no point in competing, because it's, you know, you need to know someone in London. And you could be the best musician in the world and not know anyone in London, and you'd just be knocked down. So we kind of said, right, let's just move away somewhere where it's quiet, we're by the sea. That will give me and my fiancée like a peace of mind to able to write better songs as well, because you're not clouded in all these buildings and stuff. You've got all this amazing scenery. You know, you can sit on the beach and write a song. So that was one of the reasons why we moved, but also because the music scene where we live now is a place called Broadstairs, which is right on the tip of England. It's southeast of England, and it's got the most beautiful beaches and the most beautiful scenery. But most important of all, it's got the best music scene that I've seen for a long time. Better than London in my case. You know, there's places left, right, and centre that are doing music nights on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. And every night of the week, there's somewhere to go to play. And like you were talking about earlier, there's these jam places that you can go and play, and just walk up on stage and play blues, and walk up on the stage and play country with a band. And you didn't get to do that with London, because it's, you know, like I said, it's too commercial. But here's so much more relaxed, and people, I'm able to connect more with people over here, because people are a bit relaxed, much more relaxed, and they just take in life rather than trying to, you know, I don't know, hurry life up. And that's the most beautiful thing around here, is that music is part of everyone's life.
Nice, very nice. Almost sounds like a Greenwich Village, so to speak, like in New York, or we've got versions of artsy sort of areas, and that's very cool. And that's, I'd like to hear that, obviously, because you have to be a creature of your passion, so to speak, and the best way to do that is surround yourself where you need to be. Although that's probably not going to get you to find Kiefer Sutherland for me. So yeah, well, that's not really helping me.
Well, no. Well, the thing is, it's becoming, it's looking like it's much easier to get known from this part of town than it is than it would be in London, because people people latch onto you more over here, because there's nothing to do here. You know, there's no you know, there's like one cinema. There's you know, there's hardly anything. That's probably it. You know, so no one's got anything to do but to go out and watch music. And if there's a new guy on the block and they like him, then suddenly everyone kind of likes him and buys him stuff, and then suddenly they tell their friends, and then their friends tell, and then suddenly you're swept through the UK because of just one little place. But like I said, in London, you've got everyone trying to do it, so no one's got time to look for new artists. So we kind of made that decision based on where can we go where people will respect the new artist. And I've been doing a lot of busking as well. I don't if you call it busking in America. But basically, I managed a couple of weeks ago. I went and busked in a little town called Ramsgate, which is not far from Broadstairs, and the amount of generosity you see from people on these streets is absolutely nuts. London was nothing like that. People were digging in their pockets and throwing everything in my guitar bag, and I was getting calls left, right, and centre to play in this pub and this bar and wherever, and so it really worked out really well to move down here. And it's I'll give it by the end of this year, and I'll hopefully make a name for myself down here.
Hopefully. Are you kidding me? You made a name for yourself the first time you were on the show, probably before that. You were extraordinary before you met me, darling. Now it's just an enhancement every year. That's all I can say. I know last time you were here, we obviously had played and showcased the song I'm Coming Home Tonight. And in my opinion, bold and beautiful is that ballad, let me just say. And now I'm excited, of course, because I have another song that I want to play, which is entitled You Were the Only One. I want to play it, but maybe you could just do a little lead in to tell the folks exactly where'd the inspiration come from this? Why are you so touched or moved by this song of yours?
Well, this song came about. I think it was either the third or second song that I wrote as a musician and as a singer-songwriter. It's very basic. But then again, all the best songs in the world are very basic, I guess. But it was primarily my dad's situation where I had very little of him when I was younger, and left France, and we left him behind. It was a very confusing sort of thing for me because I didn't really exactly know what's happened, and to this day I don't know what's actually happening or what's happened. I don't know even if he's alive or not, whatever. To be honest, but I wrote it because I was in a confused state, and it's basically just saying, what I was doing at that particular moment. I was very confused, and I didn't know what was going on. And I said, listen, if you were here right now, you'd probably be the only one to understand because you're the one, that probably caused the situation. I don't know, but let me know. And that's where it came out of. And you've got the instrumentation where the solo, the guitar instrumentation comes in, and that guitar solo is very based on the frustration of that moment, and you can hear it in the solo where it's a very frustrated sort of sound, and I hope that comes across, But it was basically upon that content.
Wonderful. Okay. I'm not going to tell you what I think until the song is over with because it would only be fair to have everybody else listen to it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll play it, and I'll give you a nice little break for like 4 whole minutes while this plays. So let's go for it. You Were the Only One.
To care for, but the time go by. Oh, by. Oh, Lord, sincerely, they didn't know just how I felt about you. About you. Now, praying to God that I wish you could be here with me.
Wow. Can I say that? Oh my gosh. Well, I noticed this much between the last song that I played on here and then this song. Maybe it's just my imagination, but you are starting to voice mature. I guess that's the one thing that kind of resonated through there. That, and of course, this one to me just sounds like it has more of the old time country feel as compared to like some of the newer country rock sort of stuff. But I know that that's, you know, primarily more your style.
Yeah.
It's passion. It's the passion you protrude with every single song that you sing. It's just always predominant. It's just passion, passion, passion. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness gracious, look at this. Now I wanted to talk a little bit about, I know I get all frazzled about this kid, okay? Knock it off. It's a good thing.
So do I.
Yes. It's awesome. Now, I know that you got the new album in the works, but we don't have it, well, as far as I know, there's an undefined release date it says. Now, the new single that you're releasing, is that the one that you're doing? Because I don't think you told me what's coming out in the beginning of March.
No. So there's basically, let me tell you what's happening with releases. I began to write an album, or began to make an album together before recording these songs, and I recorded three tracks that I believed were good enough to be singles of my debut album, and as I started to record these three songs, I started to realize that there wasn't, I didn't find a connection between these songs, and I wanted my first album to be, you know, something that, I don't know, that just struck gold, you know, and especially in this day and age, you need to, your first album needs to be something very special, or you just won't be recognized at all. So you know, it was a hard decision, but I said, listen, okay, these three songs I've got recorded now, let's release them as bonus tracks, just as single tracks. And it's probably, you know, never heard of before, not been done, but what stops us from releasing just single tracks, maybe 60 days apart? That will give me time to sit down with, you know, with the band, with other people that I've met down here where I live now, and just begin to work on an album from scratch. What is happening in my life right now? What is happening in the world right now? And that's what I decided was to release these next three songs. There's three tracks that will be released. That one is one of them. The first one, it's quite a special one. I won't tell you exactly what it is, but it's it will hopefully be released big end of February. So not long. But so after these three songs are released, or as soon as they're mastered, should I say, I will sit down with people and write what is happening, and write an album from scratch, from the very beginning, and do it like that. So then there's a connection within the album, and that's how I kind of I'm planning to do it. So I'm probably not going to be seeing or releasing an album until probably, I don't know, mid to the end of this year, you know. But you know, that's why I wanted to release these three tracks, so then there's a bit of interest still there, and in anticipation of the album.
So basically, I have to wait months and months and months and months and months if I want to bet.
But
wow.
no, but these three tracks, you know, they will be released separately. So there will be shows and different imagery for the covers of the singles, and because I want to take it back to those days where, you know, vinyls were around, and the artists. The artistic sort of look of the CD, and you know, was important, because nowadays you can just do everything on the internet and buy it on iTunes, but I kind of want to, I don't want to lose how it was done. So I'll be putting a lot of effort, and I'm sure, you know, Broken Door Records and my manager will be helping me along the way to make each singular song that I release, these three tracks, that they'll be special in their own way, and will be, you know, good enough to listen to for a good number of months until the album is eventually out. But I will be, you know, I'm not going to be disappearing until the album is done, obviously. But in terms of releasing, the next thing after these three tracks will be the album. But it'll be good, man. I'm looking forward to it, because I've got a very good feeling in me, and that, you know, it's just going to turn out to be a really winner. So
Of course, wonderful. Now, I want to kind of turn the wheels for just a moment here. I want to talk about something that you had shared with me, of course, which is I was kind of surprised at the revelation that you had been spending some time collaborating with rhythm and blues artists, because obviously your forte is usually the country thing. So I wanted to ask, is that particular genre one of intrigue for you? And second of all, what were you hoping to accomplish through their tutelage? What sort of things have you taken away from that experience?
Well, as a guitarist, because obviously I think when I first got into music, I grabbed hold of the guitar first before really taking singing as as serious as guitar. But you know, I was listening to, when I first got into music, obviously I was listening to things that were very blues orientated, even if it's not noticeable. You know, you've got you know, your Richie Sambora from Bon Jovi, who grew up as a blues man. And obviously like Eric Clapton and Gary Moore. I mean, blues for me, in terms of that, the guitar and the tones that you can get in guitars, and it just for me that's I think my it was just something just caught me with blues, and then I've always loved country, obviously the sweet sound of country and the storytelling in country music. And then I said, you know what, why not completely put both together? And obviously, you know, you've got that in, I don't know, Southern rock, and you've got a lot of songs and artists these days that do incorporate that. I felt that that's something that I wanted to do, was to incorporate the blues style into what is going on in the country industry. And basically what's happening down here where I live, there's a big blues movement, a lot of blues artists, you know, the older people that have been in the industry and that now have retired and that are just playing in local bars. There's a guy by the name of Nigel Feast, who is a festival organizer and also an absolutely amazing harmonica player. And I got the privilege to jam with him in a bar somewhere in a jam night, and he gave me his card and said, "Listen, you know, I'm inviting you down to the Broadstairs Blues Bash, which is basically an annual thing, and they use, I think, over 15 different venues with over 40 different bands over 3 days, and basically on the Sunday, on the last day, they hold basically a massive, you know, where loads of musicians go up on a stage and basically like a massive jam thing, but on a massive stage in the biggest venue probably around in this part of the woods. And so he invited me down to that, so then I could, you know, appear and show what I've got to people, and hopefully, you know, I'll be able to do a couple of my own tracks. And because I've managed to meet a lot of musicians down here that now kind of know my stuff, because, you know, I play my stuff in the jam nights, and the band, you know, bass players come up and they just start to learn the song as we're playing it, and, you know, you've got drummers going, right, okay, all right, that's it, and then you've got keyboardists going, what are the chords? And you know, that's how it kind of runs. So I'm really looking forward to that, and that's on the 23rd of February, I think, from 12 till 5 p.m. And then in the evening I've got a show in the evening somewhere, but that's what I'm most looking forward to is that festival, because I think it's going to be a pretty jam-packed place. And
that's February 23rd.
You know, February 23rd. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Now, my next question for you is the most simplistic one, because again, of course, I always take for granted the fact that there's always new listeners that come in with the old listeners. So kind of give them the opposite side, the flip side of Angelo, which is, okay, Angelo's not walking around with a guitar or a microphone plastered to him constantly, or a pen for that matter, I would hope. So when he's not, what is he doing?
Well, when I'm not playing music?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what am I doing? God, do you know what? To be honest, I'd probably feel lost if I didn't do that. I actually, I don't think I don't do it ever. I'm actually trying to think what I do apart from music. I mean, you know, obviously like in the evenings and stuff, I'll definitely have, you know, I'll always make time for my family, you know, and stuff like that. So there'll be times of the day where you know, music will kind of, you know, rest for a bit, and you know, I'll have a little downtime with my kids, and, you know, then later on in the evening have my downtime with my girlfriend, and then you know, and then a new day arises, and then it's back on music, and you know, but I mean, being a musician, I guess it's very versatile in that sense. Your time can be very versatile. I you know, if it's a rainy day, then I'll stay in and work on recordings or work on music, like songwriting and composing. If it's a sunny day, I'll go out and play on the streets, you know, so at least, you know, I'm playing and constantly improving my voice and my presence and stuff, and getting an income as well, because that you know, that does pay the bills when I go and play out on the streets, believe it or not.
Of course.
And then in the evenings, if there's something going on in the bar, then, you know, I've got, you know, I'm really lucky enough to have a family that allows me to do that and is very supportive of me to go out and to chase my dream. And so I'll do that when the nights, when that happens. And if there's nothing going on in the evenings, then I'll just chill out and watch a film, you know, have a glass of wine. What, you know, probably what you do, really, but, you know, like everyone else.
Well, I've found that now that I've gotten a little bit busier, there really is not much downtime. I'm kind of married to my laptop, or married to my phone, or married to my children, and that's, you know, pretty much how that whole kind of thing works. And speaking of which, how is your Lady Love's musical career going? Because obviously it would like
to well, I mean, you know, we've, especially in the last, you know, months, it's really progressed for her. She's got together these 8 tracks that I helped produce and record for her, and she, you know, that she wrote, and she's creating an EP out of these 8 tracks, and we're currently just mixing and mastering them now. And she's going down this route of, God, I better be careful because she's listening to me now, so I should try and say it in a good way. What is it? It's like R&B, hip hop with rock and a lot of things like that, you know. And you know, her voice is obviously very, very big and soulful and anthem like, and you know, and then you put into songs. I mean, it's indescribable, you know. It's something new and different, and I think you know, people are going to be in for a really good and healthy surprises when things are released. And we're going to be working on a music video for a single off of that. That should you know, that should be released soon, I think.
Sure, gotcha.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be remiss. In telling our audience, because they don't have the pleasure of knowing this, but I have the pleasure of knowing this. Not only are they both very perfectly suited for each other as boyfriend and girlfriend, even more so I'm certain will be husband and wife one day. She's just the loveliest thing. She's beautiful. She's very suited to you. She is just she's just the biggest heart of gold. So lovely, so understanding, so compassionate. She's been very, very kind to me. So you must tell her that I appreciate her existence in my life as much as I do yours. Certainly.
She's listening right now. So you could.
Oh, good. Then she heard it. So yes, I don't even have to reiterate that. I've just said it all right there. This is part of the. I'm very fortunate when I met you that I got the both of you, and that's exactly how I feel. So I'm very fortunate in that regard. And I don't want to be remiss in mentioning to the audience, because this is news that you haven't heard. Our mutual friend, or I don't know if you're a mutual friend of his yet or not, Harry, who's the producer who actually lives in London. That's the individual I've been working on financing for my shows, my reality treatments that I've written. So we've gotten turned down the first round, but now we're going to the BBC and everybody in the UK. I'm crossing my fingers that we will have an answer within the next 3 to 4 weeks. But I will tell you, whether I am London-bound and my show will be in London, or if TLC will pick this up, or the Bravo, or one of the channels, including Reels, if they pick it up here, I am proud to announce that no matter what endeavor that I will be doing, I am certain without any reluctance that Angelo will be asked to produce music on one, if not all, of these projects.
Yeah.
If you'll have me.
That's great. Well,
That's
you know,
true.
like, you know,
No,
the same. It's the same, you know, the privilege to have met, you know, someone like you as well is you know, don't take credit off of yourself, because, you know, to have, you know, I was probably meaning to say this, but to have, you know, to see the sort of life that you lead, you know, there's many people that will struggle a lot, and I think you deserve to have a lot of love in your life, because you know, you get put through things that, you know, not everyone gets put through. But just understand, and for listeners out there as well, that you know, life is going to be okay. Whether you think at that present moment that things are looking down, or you feel in yourself that you don't feel I don't know, loved or worthy of anything, just know that each individual person listening to this now, and you, of course, yourself, are so special in so many ways. You've got the ability to move mountains. You know, no one would have said that in the first place if it wasn't true. You know, so it's you need to understand that no matter how many people are putting you down and how many people will put you down, because that's the sort of world we live in at the moment, only at the moment, but that you are very special in every way, and just take that on board and live your life through that, and trust me, your life will be amazing.
Oh my goodness gracious! Look at that. Wow, I don't want to be remiss and hello, I should have talked about this, but just so you folks know, my new book, you know, the book I just published a couple months ago, Mr. Angelo Tristan is in that, in nationwide music section, as a matter of fact. So I'm very, very pleased that he was my guest 3 times around, and he's in my book, and he's going to be in all of my endeavors, period. I need to do 2 more things before I let you go. First of which is what we always do, which is I want to just make sure that I don't forget anything social media-wise. I know you have the new website now, which is www.angelotristanmusic.com. You have a personal Facebook page and a fan page on Facebook. Your Twitter at
Twitter is A Tristan Music.
Yes. And then, of course, you're on YouTube and Reverb Nation and Google+. Is there anywhere else where we can find you? Social media.
There's I'm on, you know, if brokendoorrecords.com, I'm also, you know, featured on there, and we've got more information and stuff, and, you know, live shows and stuff. There's a new thing that my manager managed to get me, which is this thing called Gig'em.com or something, which is a new thing for artists, and, you know, again, it's got new things. I managed to get myself a little thing, I think it was something off of MTV, that one of their pages, you know, has got upcoming artists and stuff, but that's more of a hidden sort of thing. But I mean, yeah, you know, the easiest way is type in Angelo Tristan on Google and somehow everything comes up.
Look at that. Of course, because you're all over the place, because you're a rock star. I keep telling you this all the time, but you don't listen to me. So I'm like, okay, fine. I also,
well, you see,
I don't want to forget.
You have to look at yourself. You know, you're the, you know, I'm the same as, you know, Jimmy Cranky from down the road, you know, except that I have a gift of singing, whereas that guy down the road has a gift of, you know, listening or something. You know, so we all need each other in this world.
Exactly. I agree 100%. Now, give them the rundown one more time for the next 2 weeks outside of the festival. Where else can people find you if they want to go out and listen to live music?
So I mean, I'll be all in and around Broadstairs and Ramsgate and Margate, in the Kent area. I'm playing on Saturday evening. God, I don't even know the place, the name of the place. I will, you know, it will be all over the internet anyway. But the Broadstairs Blues Bash, obviously on 23rd of February, and then on the same night I'm playing at the King Edward VII, which is just me as an acoustic artist. But then later on, hopefully mid-March, I'll be playing at the Seabright, which is in London, which is a very famous music venue, and that will be full band. And anything from then on, after mid-March, will hopefully be full band, full rocking, country, rock, blues, all of that stuff, you know.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Now, you know this is tradition, and this is the 3rd time around, and even though it's number 3, I'm going to make you listen to this anyways. Anybody who listens to my show every day or regularly already knows that I take the last little bit of time and I tell that person, in this case, Angelo Tristan, exactly what I think of him, although he's probably heard some of this before. We'll see if I can sharpen my act up a little bit, because there's always new and interesting things to say. Okay, so this is my rundown of Angelo Tristan. So for anybody that's listening, in case you haven't heard this before, you should pay attention very, very closely. I'm a huge believer in the fact that fate and destiny tends to bring people together for whatever reason. In this particular regard, I find myself immeasurably blessed on so many levels by meeting this person. First of all, when I met him, what's remarkably refreshing about him, and I've said this before and I'm going to say it again, is his exuberance, the fact that he's a younger musician who exudes so much passion for his craft that finds it vitally important to pass along those messages, as I said, of love and inspiration and hope. to keep that message alive and burning, I think, is far more important to him than whether he packs a house of 20,000 people. The message is clear. His messages are always clear. He is a person of high class and distinction in his crowd. For being such a young man, as he said, there's just tons and tons of musicians that just line the walls all over London. But he stands out, and he stands out to me for a number of reasons. He is just so immeasurably adorable. And I say that because he's half my age. He's my son's age. And I couldn't be any prouder of him as if I was his real mom, so to speak. I've kind of watched him move along in his career path. He's made tremendous strides in a short amount of time. He works so hard to make sure that both himself and everyone around him is so well represented. He is a 100% class act. And there is absolutely nothing that I wouldn't do for this person as a musician or as my friend. But I swear to God, if he doesn't get married the next year, he's driving me nuts. He deprives me. He forgets. He deprives me of the right of coming to London. And it's not because he's getting married. It's just because I want to see one of my idols face to face, because I'm truly an Angelo Tristan groupie. So all of you listening,
you're gonna make me
should
cry
do
now.
well. Well, you know what? Kudos right back at you, because I made this post of you're the first and only guest to make me cry on my own show. Usually it's the flip side. Usually I get the chance to work in, but that's rare that anybody gets me more on my own show.
As soon as the news of the wedding is down, I don't know how we'll do it. We'll find a way and we'll get you a ticket over here, and you and your kids.
You have to get my fantasy date. Because if I can't get Kiefer, there could be a problem. I'm just getting frustrated. No, I mean, I'm starting to give up. I'm like, my God, he's right in London, but it's like he's not really right there, you know. It's frustrating. Chasing him around is like much more work than it was to get you or probably anyone on my show ever. I'm like, I'm just going to give up on it. I don't know.
Did you actually get him on your show?
Well, no, I'm getting his mother on my show, actually, but I have to do it live. Apparently, she doesn't want to do internet radio. So Shirley Douglas, his mother, I'm going to go to Canada, and when I do my book signings there, I'm going to hook up with her publicist so that we could do something in person. She's a woman in her 80s. She's much older, and typically in a wheelchair. And, I have a tremendous amount of respect for her. It's not really to get to her son. I mean, I really do. Without that interview I watched of the both of them, I would have never started my third show, my Canadian show, which is about to start. So they're very impressive to me. That they're royalty in their area, and I think, she is a woman of high accolades. I would love to meet her in person and interview her. And Kiefer, I got one more shot. If I don't get to London, I know that May is the Fox party here, and well, not here, but it's in New York. So I might be able to squeak in with a good friend of mine to go to that. So I'm not going to give up on
how lucky you are. You just get to speak to go to New York. I mean, that's just crazy,
Well, don't tell anybody, and you didn't hear this from me, because the only people who know this that are listening. But I've been talking to somebody that I like in New York, so I might just slip away there for like 2 days this weekend for Valentine's Day. I might.
See, there we go.
We'll see. I'm trying to
put
keep
yourself
it alive.
Some downtime. There you go. You deserve it.
Well, as you know, and as we all know, of course, my child has become my priority in this illness and stuff. So I'm just not so sure it'll happen. So I'm trying not to get excited right now. We'll just see how it goes. This was like the most excitement for me. Not only do I get you, but then I get to do the Kiss tribute band guys later. So I'm even more excited. So I'm like,
well,
this is awesome.
Make sure to tell your son that me and my fiance Nana are very proud of him, and we're very proud of you as well. And tell him as well that everything is going to be fine, and he's going to be an amazing person when he grows up.
I will do that. And in fact, I will have him listen to this part of the interview and then he can hear it himself, because I'm very big at incorporating my children into everything that I do. So it's amazing. So again, I want to say one more time to you, thank you so much, my dear, for taking the time. Please come back anytime you like. And you've given me something to work on now, because of the fact when I was listening to you, I might very well go to that venue that you were talking about. It sounds to me like it's like a relative. Perhaps maybe you and I could all work together with them and see if we could orchestrate a signing there, since part of my book is like a relative. Then it gets a gig for you, it gets a gig for me, and then I get to come there sooner.
Yeah,
I'm saying.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. We'll definitely do that.
Definitely. All right. That sounds great. I will make sure that later on tonight or tomorrow, I'll post all this information up about Angelo on my personal page or my show page, both. I'm not quite sure yet. I'll make sure to get everything all up so this way people know how to find you. And don't be a stranger, and get working on that.
I will never be a stranger. I will never be a stranger. Don't you worry about that.
Please don't. Send your lady love a very big hug for me, and happy Valentine's Day to you guys. And like I said, we'll be in touch very soon.
You.
Enjoy your weekend.
You too. You too.
All right, Del. We'll be in touch.
See ya.
See ya. All right, folks, that was Angelo Tristan on my phone, or I should say on my show. Again, I don't mean to sound so silly and stupid, but I have to say, like I said, I'm very, very proud of him for being such a young man and for all the accolades that he's accomplished so far. And accolades a lot of times in grown-up society doesn't always necessarily mean that he has a pocket lined with millions of dollars, et cetera, et cetera. It's that he's rich in heart, he's rich in purpose, and he's rich in passion. And for me, those three accolades matter more than anything else you could do. So my friend Angelo, thank you so much for that. Again, one more time, he has a personal and fan page on Facebook, www.angelotristanmusic.com. His music can be listened to on YouTube or Reverb Nation. And of course, his Twitter handle is @atristanmusic. Want to remind everybody today, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, that's in 4 hours from now. Exclusive, Milwaukee's favorite KISS tribute band, Dr. Love, is going to be on at 6 o'clock. Dave is going to be representing the band collectively. So hopefully I'll have some new and interesting questions for him, and we'll get to learn more about how they formulated themselves into the new and modern KISS. So I look forward to meeting you back here then. Thanks for listening.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. By singing dog. By goal.
I pronounce you.
By wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really? Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. By singing dog. By goal.
I pronounce you.
By wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really? Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.